Hey, folks. Hi, folks. Getting ready here. Anahata Graceland with Rural Frenchel Puppies. I think maybe we might need to move one of these puppies out of here for a minute, but I'm going to show them to you. You see me wiping my hands. This is the Talking Dog Show. I'm getting ready to show you some newborns, and I wanted to make sure my hands were nice and clean and sterile so that I can pick up those little puppies with no risk to them. I'm really fortunate to have Arturo Chileri, my right paw, with me. And also Gigi is a wonderful person who works with our puppies here in the kennel. She's the lead person when it comes to the care of the training of our tiny puppies. We do something called the Love Bucket training here. And Love Bucket training is really an important thing to turn the brain on for socialization. And it's one reason why people rave so much about Royal Frenchels. It's both the breed, but a lot of it all is the early training that we do, because they're treated as individuals, not litters. And they have individual people 6 days a week, 45 minutes to an hour apiece. So anyway, I want to say welcome. How fun to see you all here. I'm really glad. We're going to talk about a few things, but before I do, let me show you some little newborns. Newborns are really quite extraordinary. I don't know if you know it, but when a newborn is born, one of the things that it has naturally is an immediate response to any kind of height. So it's really hard on puppies when you pick them up and you hold them high. If they feel high off of anything, it really, really stresses them tremendously. So I'm going to show you this little one. This is one of our newest little Royal French. Oh, no. Hi, sweetness. This is one of our newest little Royal Frenchels. He's a blue merle baby, or she. Yeah, he is. Isn't he beautiful? You can. Oh, sweetheart. Yeah. Yeah. Now I wanted to show you. Did you see how he screamed when I held him up high? And now when he's next to me, he doesn't scream like that. This is really important information for people when you have pups. We don't mean to create stress, but sometimes we do. So this is one little one. You'll be seeing them on the Royal Frenchel website as time goes on here. They're just a week old right now, not even. Here's another little tricolor. I just thought I'd show you. We won't take lots of time with this right now. You can see their pictures on the website tomorrow. And then we have one gorgeous little lavender blue. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't that just a gorgeous little one? Pretty little girl. She got a pretty face, she does. Okay, so you want to take them back to their mama?
Yeah.
So today I wanted to talk to you really specifically about how food affects behavior. It's really, really important, and people don't know it. You know, we've been sold a bill of goods a lot when it comes to dog products, and dog food is really, you know, there's not much regulation, period, in the dog industry. And food has been a huge one that has been a really big issue. And just this last month, we've had, just this year, we've had Northwest Naturals and with the bird flu having to be recalled, and Blue Ridge with the salmonella contamination. We have companies with listeria, salmonella, the bird flu. And believe you me, that's no fun for your dogs. It can cost them their lives at times even. But at best case, they get pretty sick. So I wanted to just share that with you up front, that, you know, because it says natural and because it costs a lot does not mean that the food is great. I want you to understand that. It's not like food products for humans where they have to list all ingredients and do things of that nature. In dog food, they don't have to do that. They list ingredients, but it's real easy by the regulations or lack of regulations that they can include things in the dog food that you're unaware of. For instance, you know, giving a protein value, but then the food is heated up so much that it loses some of its value and a good amount. So the food isn't what it's all cracked up to be. So today we're going to talk about that. I have a guest coming on uh, Kathleen, who's going to talk to you about uh, behaviors that can happen that are oftentimes considered allergies when in fact they're food related and not allergic to the food. It's due to a lack thereof of certain nutrients. Things like, not having protein and fats and carbohydrates in balance with vitamins and minerals, it can cause hyperactivity. And dogs get in trouble like this all the time. Your dog's running around and nobody can get its attention. You can't train it to anything, but you're giving it heaps of kibble that were made at an extremely high temperature that killed most of the food in it, and it doesn't have the right balances for its genetic history. But it'll tell you it's got all the protein, this, that, and the other. Another one that's really a serious one is too much sugar, or low quality fillers like corn or wheat, artificial junk that they put in it. And it causes a real restlessness, not the hyperactivity so much, but not being really able to get comfortable, sleeping for a while, getting up, walking around, not really wanting to snuggle, not really wanting to be touched much, or get aggressive. And many, many dogs get aggressive from the experience of having, not the right food. There are so many things, deficiencies in zinc and magnesium, dogs that rip up the house, tear a couch apart, chew your shoes. All these things cause excessive chewing if they're not in the right balance. And a lot of people are just unaware. So I want to invite Kathleen on because she is an expert when it comes to dog food and allergies. And we've been working together for some time. My kennel, we had 7 dogs with allergies. When I went on the routine with Kathleen, and the 7 dogs with allergies that I had, 2 of them were on Apoquil, Cytopoint shots, but for 4 years. We're talking it was going to just basically destroy their lives, because you can't take Apoquil like that regularly and not have it affect their system, their liver, etc. So I want to just share with you, clearly I'm not a vet, I don't pretend to be, but I've been a breeder for over 50 years. I have watched these medications over these years. I have watched what happens with food over all these years. And I want to tell you that in my kennel, when I made the switches and changes that I'm going to tell you about today in part, my dogs, after 6 months, not one of them had allergies like that. Not one. Everyone was off medication. And all we have is the scars left from 4 years of chewing, pretty much a little bald spot. So let me welcome Kathleen and say, hi, Kathleen.
Hello, Anahata. Thank you so much for asking me to join you today. And you really brought up some really great points. You talked about allergies. Our dogs are itching. Our dogs are shaking their heads.
Oh, my God, so much.
Those type of behaviors outside of the destructive behaviors, but they're doing things like licking their paws, chewing their paws. Do you out there, have you had experience with that? That's something that right away we put the word allergies on it. And when you don't know what to do, you take you take your dog to the vet.
Yeah.
Vet says, got some yeast here, got some allergies, got to give him some shots. Need the Apoquil, need the Cytopoint. Well, I've been in this industry for 10 years. And if you are experiencing any of this, what we call allergies, you are in the majority of pet owners today
Yeah.
because it is an epidemic. It is a true epidemic, and it has gotten worse by the day. And what's it about? It's about the nutritional value and the ingredients that are in commercial dog foods.
Yeah.
I would challenge you, or I would ask you to get your bag of food out. If you've thrown it away, make sure you check the next bag you buy, because what you're going to find is you're going to find that the leading ingredients, now ingredients on a dog food bag are by volume. So when you turn the bag over and the ingredient is ground corn, ground soy, corn wheat meal, whatever it is, I want you to know that these are the ingredients that are causing the itching, causing the what we call the quote allergies. And what's happening is these ingredients are building up yeast in the gut, and we call it candida. I believe that's a word. Now, again, I'm not a medical professional, but after 10 years, I've learned a lot. And this is what's causing your dog to scratch, shake their heads, chew their paws, whatever it is that they're doing, unless they have fleas. That's a different story. We're talking here of skin issues due to a yeast product. I have a very important question to ask you. Does your dog smell like corn chips or Fritos?
That's such a good question. A lot
I
of
will
people
tell
do.
you, I do a lot of public events and public educational workshops. That is my number one question. And what I get is, yes, how did you know? Well, because that is a very strong indication of yeast. And let me tell you what's happening. The yeast builds up in the gut. The gut is overwhelmed with yeast.
Yeah.
That yeast has nowhere to go but out of the cells of the gut into the entire cellular system of the body, which is causing the itching, the shaking the ears, the biting the paws.
Mhm.
That is yeast is it causes that type of reaction. This is where we're getting into the behavior aspect that you mentioned, Anahata.
Right. I mean,
And
it's dreadful when you take your dog
oh,
somewhere and all you hear is because they're scratching so much, they interrupt meetings. You go to the store, everybody thinks you mistreat your dog because you're trying to get it to stop scratching.
hey, how about licking the paws when you're trying to sleep at night?
Oh,
Try
yeah.
that one.
Yeah. Yeah. But,
Yeah,
I feel so for them, Kathleen, which is why I wanted you to come on because a lot of people, they go to the vet, they have allergy testing done, and they don't understand that allergy testing is going to show allergies if a dog is inflamed already like
that's
that.
right.
And
Inflamed. There you
yeah,
go.
yeah.
Inflammation. Thank you for bringing up that word. I didn't bring that up. Yes.
Yeah, inflammation is critical to the whole deal. And when they have the improper balance of nutrients and micronutrients, which is the superfood that we use so much now.
Yes.
And there's a link below, folks, so that you're welcome to get the food that we use here in our kennel. And I don't use anything else but this food, nothing. And I have to tell you, since I did, I'm 80% down in vet bills. I don't take dogs to the vet anymore with like any kind of gut issues or issues that have to do with allergies and things of that nature, including ears. Like this is a big
Yes.
deal because I have a Frenchie line. Okay. All of you who have Frenchie type dogs know that you can get really severe ear issues. But behaviorally, this really causes your dog to be irritated. Not only is it bothering you and him or her with the scratching, but let's face it, can you imagine scratching all day? How are you going to feel? Right?
Y-
And you're going to feel like crap. Go ahead.
Absolutely. The other thing I want to say is if you're listening out there and you aren't real sure what you need, what type, because I want to also mention, I'm not going into detail here, because this is where Anahata and her team can help you. The
Yeah.
thing to remember is you have to be very mindful of a specific protein and things like that, because when dogs are inflamed, you might take all of all that junk out, but there are certain proteins that will cause the inflammation to become exasperated.
Right.
So I know that Anahana and her team can help you with choosing the proper protein and proper combination of ingredients. And in addition, there's there's a lot more to this food than people think. It's also it depends on the dog's age, their activity level, their breed, because they need different levels of vitamins, minerals, different amounts of protein based on the specific dog. And that's the one thing about Royal Frenchels and about Anahata. She knows that the best thing for a dog is to customize that nutrition plan specifically for
Yeah,
that particular pet. Just like we need certain things, we're all different, we're all living beings. Our dogs are absolutely no different.
absolutely. Without a doubt. I'm really fortunate to have Arturo Chileri here, who's my right paw, and he can go into real detail with you. He was
Mm.
a chemical engineer in the past and really was into nutrition a great deal. And he's the fellow that really can get into minute understandings about what's happening in your dog. Let me just give you an example. For instance, the fluid in the joints of dogs. Most people don't know that they're born with a certain amount of fluid, and that fluid never changes throughout life. It just doesn't. What you can do, though, is unfortunately waste it. So if you waste that fluid and it disappears, you can't remanufacture. You can't give them medication. You can't give them anything to remanufacture those joint that joint pillow that is done with that fluid there. And so, these things are really critical at young ages. If you can get the right products that assist with this, like this is one that we use here. It's called Joint Support Plus, and we use this on all of our dogs that could possibly have any kind of history of any type of joint issue. But also, we just give it to all our puppies because you want them to really take care of that fluid, because that lets them, our dogs live a long time. They live almost twice as long as regular Frenchies. 14 to 18 years is a long time for a dog. And if you wear that joint down, you're looking at an older age surgery, which can cost it its life. And it's painful. They get less exercise. They're just not going to live as long. And you want that, right? I mean, I know I do. Yeah. So Kathleen, did you have anything else you wanted to share?
Um, Not really. I just wanted to say that Arturo has educated me as well. So for those of you out there, you're in great hands. And I know that Anna Hunter and her team love nothing more than to educate
Yep.
and help the pet owners out there. It is very unfortunate that we are all, as a pet owner, we don't have the knowledge. And unfortunately, taking your pet to the vet, veterinarians are very good as clinical doctors, doctors of medicine. But
Mhm.
when it comes to nutrition, it's very unfortunate that they really have not had education. And what is happening is that you, as a pet owner, are going back over and over and over, getting medication for an
Right.
issue that is doing nothing but treating the symptom.
Well,
So
not only
when
the
we
symptom, but the
talk about
quality of life.
food is the source of all cellular life. It is the food is the
Love,
key to
love.
nutrition. Nutrition is the key to the life of a pet, the key to the life of us. We know that.
Well,
And
Kathleen,
yeah,
I keep interrupting you, and I'm sorry, but it
no,
makes me
it's
think
fine.
of the reality that most people have no idea how many dog foods are recalled and
Oh,
why. And the
how
one thing
many
that really,
should be recalled that aren't? How about that
no
one?
kidding, no kidding. And one
Yeah,
thing that really struck me about our dog food, it's never been recalled. Over 10 years, we're
never,
on the
no.
11th year now, and it's never been recalled. And it's not recalled because they check it so many times. So they do a double check every time on every food product that is made, every batch that is made. And you don't want salmonella, you don't want listeria, you don't want bird flu, you don't want these things, you don't want metals. I mean, there was one company, I wrote it down before I came in, but yeah, Mars Pet Care had metal pieces in the food and they had to
Oh
recall.
yes,
And
definitely.
bad for the companies, but hey, I feel a lot worse for the dogs. They should have a process that doesn't allow that. And if they're checking the food regularly, it doesn't happen. Yeah.
So
The
there are just wonderful things for food, and then even supplementation. Not and it that's where it depends on a specific pet. And I will tell you that the team here and this talk show, um, I don't know how often you do this, but Anahana,
every day, Monday to Saturday.
I can think of some wonderful programs, products, and topics outside of nutrition. I think we should talk about dental health, oral health, and because we have a lot to share on that. And that's something that is a little unknown territory for most pet owners.
You
But
know,
would love to educate them on that.
people always talk about the breath of a dog and
Oh,
like, oh, he's getting old. That's not age. That's bad teeth. Okay, that's what that is. It's not.
and it can be gut.
And gut. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Teeth
yeah.
and gums. We'll talk. That's for another day on Ahana. But there is a lot of education we can share with our audience here. So if
Uh-huh.
you'd like to invite me back, I'd love to share more.
I would love it. I would love it. Are you kidding? We'd have a ball. Listen, I do want to mention one thing because I'm more than anything into brain health for dogs because I raise dogs that are all about service work, relationship. They can go anywhere. They travel. They're like the travel dog, actually. Today, they can always go in the cabin and all that good stuff. And so they need to have a good personality. They need to have really good manners, right? And one of the things that I learned with this food is how, or in my study for 2.25 years that I did, which was a deep dive on dog food, is that, fatty acids, B vitamins, antioxidants, they're crucial for cognitive health. And dogs are so much smarter than we think. And we want them to be able to think clearly. We want them to be able to have the freedom to use their minds, just like us. In this country right now, we're seeing such massive change around health, right? And personally, for me, I'm thrilled. The thought that children will be getting whole food in schools now instead of junk food, that really touches my heart. And I feel the same way about dogs. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what time it is. Forgive me. I was reaching for my phone and instead I spilled my water. I need
12:22.
12:22. Okay. Well, Kathleen, we will definitely do this. Okay. You're going to come back.
I will.
We'll pick topics. We'll create a wonderful show, and maybe we need it to be a little longer. We'll see. And maybe we can invite some people on if people want to come on and talk about their dog, and we can actually do some of the customizing of their dog food plan right there, right? That would be
Love
wonderful.
it. Oh,
If
yes.
people like that, let us know. We would really love to know. The links to everything we've been talking about are down below. The links to Royal Frenchel, the links to the dog food, the links to, oh my God, the last link. Let me show you. This is the Tail Wagging Love. This is our Amazon store. We started with this one product, and the reason why I want to bring products to people that really work. I'm so fed up. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars over 50 plus years buying products that just stunk. Okay, they didn't work, they fell apart, etc. This is a thermos that you and your dog can enjoy. And I say that really wholeheartedly because I carry mine in the car. It has 2 bowls on the bottom. You just feed water and food in one, right? Water and food. And then if you want to drink, you drink. So you can drink, your dog can drink. And, listen, the reality is this. I'm a lady, okay? I go out and I shop. I say, I'm going to be 2 hours. I'm 5, okay? You get out there and it just happens, right? And before you know it, you've actually not meant to, but you've caused your dog to be dehydrated and you don't realize it. And you think you got enough in the car, you think you can get something at the restaurant or whatever. Let me tell you, if you carry one of these with you, it is so awesome. It's all in one bundle. You can have a little snack. you can have the water, and you get some hydrated. And I got to tell you, I just love it. We have them. There are a few colors. The link's down below. Feel free to have it.
I have to give a plug for that because guess what? I don't have it in front of me. Do you know why?
Why?
Because my husband is out with Luke with the bottle.
Oh,
They're out on a hike.
Yep.
Because we love our bottle. I got a bottle when I heard about it, and we got the light green, and it is great. And let me something else that I want to add: it keeps the water nice and cold.
It does. It
does.
12 hours, which is usually really good.
Good.
The really big ones, and I don't have those in the store yet. And the truth is that this is such a perfect size for trekking around in the daytime or going on a trip. You can always, you're never too far from a bathroom. You can always refill it quickly and easily. So yeah, I love it. I love it. Okay, now I have some puppies to show you. Kathleen, thank you so much for coming.
You're
Please.
Welcome.
I'd love for you to be here. We're going to drop you off screen so I can show some pups.
Great.
Best to you. Okay, let me see here. I'm going to just try to bring this up a little farther. Hello, Miss Ducky Valentine. Hi, Miss Ducky. This is Ducky Valentine, and I promised people, second to puppy breath, the only next best thing is puppy eyes. So I'm going to just put her eyes up so you can really look in them and see this precious little soul, because they are so precious. You can tell a lot about the dog in the windows of their soul like that. It's something I love to do. That's my girl, Ducky. You can see how interested in things she is. Ducky's a very smart little gal, and she likes adventure. You can tell. She gets around in the room, and her brother, who is just a big snuggle bun, she's a snuggle bun too, but she likes adventure and she likes getting around. I'll show you her brother real quick. Oh, he didn't come. Well, I'll take Biggs. This is Biggs. Now, Biggs, she was a micro, and Biggs is a he may be a regular, but he's a large small right now. He's 4.5 weeks old. Isn't he beautiful? Check out those eyes. They're a little harder to see because of the black around him. Oh, isn't he a love? My good boy. Yes, you are. Oh, all right. So you can see these dogs on the website. Feel free to go and check it out. I got in trouble with Google because I have so much information on my website, but I think people like to be informed. They like to get educated about the dogs that they're bringing into their life for the next 15 to 18 years. I mean, who wants to buy just a set of looks and take it home and find out that there's all kinds of issues? So anyway, I'd love for you to be able to go to the website, learn about Royal Frenchels and about some of the things we've been talking about. So I'm going to turn it over to Arturo for a second and see if he has anything he wants to share.
Well, you were asking about the, a little bit about the dog food and the importance of nutrition. And I think the most relevant thing to share that I think most people don't know, that from the research Anahata has done over the years, we discovered some pretty horrible realities about what's out there in dog food. And, I like to share a little bit of context because it's sort of like you can relate to it when you get that the dog food industry at first grabbed a lot of their proteins from human food processing plants that had their residue and waste meat, right? And that was created and produced in these FDA regulated meat plants that had cleanliness and sterility and proper care of the proteins because it was going to human food. And at some point, I think it was in the late 70s, they separated these plants out and created what are called rendering plants. And these rendering plants are all over the country, and they collect waste carcass from anything from roadkill to farm animals, all that. And the thing about it is it's not regulated.
Hold on. Yeah. Which means, by the way, folks, dogs, cats, anything that dies gets thrown into the mix. Dogs were not meant to eat dog. Okay.
So it's horrible. The whole thing. It's atrocious. And you could understand that this protein source that is being created basically gets ground up all together, dried up into a powder, sold as protein. And think about the pet food manufacturers have these formulators. They have to choose from a variety of quality of protein. So they can choose anything. They are forced by the market in the market price demand. The stores that sell their food will come back to them and say, look, you have to lower your price. We're not selling your product. The greedy or whoever, I can judge them all I want, but the bottom line is the people who are making the money don't want to lose any money. So what they do is they take from the production process, they take from the quality of the ingredients. Hey, lower the quality of protein, basically. Give me the next grade down. And it goes down and down and down. And the bottom of the barrel is that stuff from the
so horrible.
From those rendering plants. Now, they're not regulated. Everything goes into them. So why do pet foods get recalled? Because they are contaminated, because there's no care of the protein that's going in there. How could it be that a dog food gets to your house and you get sick from it? I mean, that's just rotted meat. I mean, just let's see what it is. It's rotted protein, and they don't distinguish protein from anything. It's just, if it's meat, it's protein, right? And that is just, it's an archaic understanding of and an industrialization of the food. And if you know anything about human food, you know that it's similar, but 100 times worse for dogs. So now back to what Kathleen was saying about the gut. The gut is inflamed. That's where it gets hit, because these toxics get put in, because the food is sterilized with toxic chemicals to kill the bacterias and things that are growing on them. But they're not doing. They use
things like kerosene in those big vats when they're breaking it down, all those different animals that have died, and they're breaking it down. They use things like kerosene.
Cheap chemicals, really common, very cheap chemicals that are not meant to be put on food. But because they're animals or pets, they just do it because there's no regulation. So our dogs, our pets, are sort of like little portals of industrial contamination, basically, where people are just making millions of dollars off of the food. And and the only rules and laws that are there are labeling laws. So you have to learn how to read the labels and unhook the deceitful fronts and understand, oh, what does that mean? If it's a meal, it doesn't mean it's bad. But if it's a meal from not a single source protein, you can bet your booty that there's something bad in there that's hurting your dog. So the first thing always to do is clean up the food. Stop the toxics from going into your dog, because that's the source of inflammation that's creating the yeast and creating all the other problems. You have to stop the toxics. So I think that's, the first sharing I'll give about this. There's a lot. I can talk about this for hours. It's a very passionate subject.
Yeah, actually, we're going to do a big show on it. Actually, we'll get there, and we're going to bring Kathleen on, and we'll do a show, and maybe we do like a week long on dog food or something. Yeah. We'll figure it out. I mean, because this is such an important topic, folks. Please, really, everybody thinks it's dog food. I don't need to hear that. I've heard enough. Every dog food company has a vet behind it going, yes. But what they don't realize is that vets often have no training. Like in their school programs, there's not nutritional. There's only 150 certified, or they're not even all certified, 150 nutritionists in the country, somewhere around 150. Yeah. And we have 60% of our population has dogs, and many have more than one. So,
it's worth noting that we're breeders. We raise Royal Frenchels, right? It is in our interest to produce healthy dogs. It's our problem. We must solve the problems. Yeah, we must. Otherwise, we're not a viable service to you to provide these healthy dogs.
That's right.
The vets, now I'm not against vets. I'm just saying there's a different incentive. They don't, like we have, there's a common bug called Giardia. Vets don't handle the Giardia. They push it off for a while, right? And then the customer has to come back to treat it again, because they're not incentivized to stop it, because they can make money on every visit. Now, I'm not saying that's the incentive, but I'm saying when you have a breeder we as breeders have had to work to find the right food. We have noticed the changes that they do to the formulas over the years. Every time we switched food over the last 10 years, Anahata would notice a change in her dogs. Turo, what's going on? What's up with the dogs? We have to go look and check. Did we change detergent? Did we change are they exposed to anything different?
It was wild.
It must be the food. And sure enough, she would push on the food production people, and they would eventually tell us, yes, we changed our formula. Why did you change your formula? Obviously, because they were trying to market at reduce cost, right?
Yeah.
So they went to lower quality, and we would see it in the quality of the dog. Suddenly their ears would start getting allergies, or suddenly their paws would start getting itching.
Oh my God. At one point we had 24 dogs with ear issues. That, like, for real, in one of these food changes, in about 2 weeks, all of a sudden we had ear issues everywhere.
Yeah.
And we had to immediately, of course, get off that food. At that time, back then, I was trying different foods, right? I tried like around 8 of them over a year or so, and with different groups of dogs. And then I went into a very deep dive for 2.25 years. I started learning everything I could about food production and dogs, and in terms of where the regulatory processes were, which were pretty much nil. And so the things Arturo says so much better than me. I'm, really grateful for him because he speaks about it so well. I know this stuff. I shared it with him. But I don't speak about it as well as he does. He's that chemical engineer. He's a person that knows that stuff. And I'm so grateful for him because he really cares about that cell health that Kathleen was talking about. Kathleen mentioned when she was on, the light of that cell, that energy in each cell of the body. And, if you can give your dog an extra 5 years, don't you want to do it? Right? I mean,
And and one other thing, and just another note, is that with allergies, and I've suffered allergies my whole life and have had to learn about that for myself. But the thing that most people don't understand is that it takes time for them to reveal. Your body is resilient when you're young. And everyone knows when you're young, you do everything. But then when you start getting old, you start to, oh my God, whoa, I can feel the effect of when I did that. Well, it's the same thing with your animals. They're not going to show that they're getting contaminated by bad food instantly. It shows up later when it's too late, when the organs have already been inflamed for years and they're damaged. And that's pretty much what happens. So starting young is so critical. When you get a Royal Frenchel with us, you spend about an hour with me. I educate you about the food. I educate you about the food industry. I teach you how to read the food labels. I teach you about everything you have to do to protect your dog so they could have a long, long, healthy life, which is what you want. So anyways, I'll keep talking. I love this is a good topic, but thanks for letting me share. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you. No, I appreciate it. So folks, the links are down below. And let me just say to you that, we have some questions we'll get to, but let me just say to you, I'm happy to meet with anyone with your dog about your dog and food. What Kathleen was saying was that we can easily put together a specific food plan for your dog. I have people that have 4 different breeds in their families and different ages and stages, and we make a whole food plan for them. And I'm happy to do that for you. And, we make a little bit on the food, not much to speak of, certainly nothing you'd want to live on forever unless you really get into the leadership of the company, then wonderful. But for me as a dog breeder, I'm interested in the things we've spoken about, and that's where I'm at today. I would love for you to use us well and get your dog healthy.
One question Ike asks, do Frenchels have high separation anxiety?
No, not typically. Well, let me say this. If you keep a dog in and you're in for, a couple of months with your dog and you don't go anywhere, you go to the store and the dog comes with you or something like that. Of course, when you leave, they're going to be worried and upset because the program has changed. So what I always suggest with people with any dog, but with Royals, especially always with my customers, is make sure that you leave for periods of time so that they have it in their program. And that way, when you go, they don't have that issue, and make sure they're well cared for. And I'm happy to talk to you about that at the, if we were to meet around Royal Frenchel, I'm happy to give you that, to share more about it with you. Absolutely. But no, they're not anxious dogs typically at all. They're actually one of the most low key. They are the most low key and chill bulldog out there. They have a wonderful mix of personality, and they love people. They love going places. And, you don't want to keep a dog that's super intelligent, made for relationship, in a box, right? And then suddenly remove yourself from that box with it and leave it there alone. That anybody's going to have a reaction to that. Yeah.
I just want to do a shout out to Stephanie. We see you there. Thanks for all the comments. It's nice to have you here participating.
Yes, Stephanie,
and
thank
Rebecca is there again. And nice to see everybody. Thanks for showing up, everybody.
Yeah. And listen, we've run over again. So I'm not sure what we should do. Maybe we should just lengthen the show. But anyway, we'll just go on like we do, and we'll find that equal balance of where the right timing is. Listen, thank you so much for coming. We are going to do a period of really getting into the nutrition. I really want to do that for people.
Yeah, there's a lot to do.
There's a lot to share about it.
Yeah.
And again, thank Kathleen for showing up for us today.
Yeah, thanks,
and everybody
Kathleen.
in our audience. Thank you. And much love to everyone. Links below. Remember,
and for
the
those
Amazon store for your bottle, and it comes in the prettiest pink with a little copper logo. I love that one myself. And
for Royal
and
Frenchel,
also a green.
for Royal Frenchel fans, we did new photos. They're getting prepared. They
Oh,
could be live tomorrow. You can see our great, beautiful puppies and the new litter that's coming out too. You're gonna
also, I want to tell you, this is 17% off right now.
Oh, right.
So go get it because it's 17% off. And that I did that for all of our Royal Frenchel people. And I decided to do it since we started the show to just make it for everybody. So please feel free. Yeah.
All right, everyone.
Okay. Much love, everyone. Mwah. We'll see you soon.